Hi folks, welcome to RJ Impact. Today we're going to be looking at the rise and fall of Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, together with a look at a not insignificant player in this saga, a certain Ramesh Sunny Balwani. This is an update and remastering of the original video I put together on Holmes, as since then we've had 2 trials and 2 verdicts, which are the culmination of events up until now. Thanks for watching this video. A nice like and a subscription would be appreciated. So let's move on. The rise and fall. Elizabeth Holmes was the founder and chief executive of Theranos, a now defunct health technology company. Theranos soared in valuation after the company claimed to have revolutionized blood testing by developing testing methods that could use surprisingly small volumes of blood, such as from a finger prick. By 2015, Forbes had named Holmes the youngest and wealthiest self-made female billionaire in America on the basis of a $9 billion valuation of her company. The next year, following revelations of potential fraud about Theranos' claims, Forbes had revised its published estimate of Holmes' net worth to 0, and Fortune had named her one of the world's most disappointing leaders. So what happened? Where it all began. While at Stanford University, Elizabeth Holmes had an idea to develop a wearable patch that could adjust the dosage of drug delivery and notify doctors of variables in patients' blood. She started developing lab-on-a-chip technology for blood tests, with the idea to start a company that would make blood tests cheaper and more convenient and accessible to consumers. Holmes dropped out of Stanford in 2003 and used the education trust fund from her parents to found the company that would later be called Theranos, derived from a combination of the words therapy and diagnosis. Early company expansion was promising, and as time went on, Theranos became one of the hot stocks in the burgeoning tech sector. Investors piled in, and at each funding round, the valuation of the company increased exponentially. In 2012, Safeway invested $350 million into retrofitting 800 locations with clinics that would offer in-store blood tests. In 2013, Theranos partnered with Walgreens to offer in-store blood tests at more than 40 locations with the intention to expand nationwide. A number of other business partnerships, for example with the Cleveland Clinic and the Food and Drug Administration FDA, were announced. Theranos was awarded the 2015 Bioscience Company of the Year by the Arizona Bioindustry Association. The accolades kept coming, and Elizabeth Holmes became a celebrity, being one of the few females excelling in the competitive environment that is Silicon Valley. Holmes' voice, notably being a deep baritone, is an idiosyncrasy that made her stand out. Debate still rages today about whether it is an affected or natural attribute.
The right to protect the health and well-being of every person, of those we love, is a basic human right.
What was Theranos' product? Well, having moved on from her original idea, Holmes described her fear of needles as a motivation and sought to perform blood tests using only small amounts of blood. When Holmes originally pitched the idea to read vast amounts of data from a few droplets of blood derived from the tip of her finger to her medicine professor Phyllis Gardner at Stanford, Gardner responded, "I don't think your idea is going to work," explaining that it was impossible to do what Holmes was claiming could be done. Several other expert medical professors told Holmes the same thing. However, Holmes did not relent, and she succeeded in getting her advisor and dean of the School of Engineering, Channing Robertson, to back her idea. With just a few drops of blood, Holmes and Theranos promised that its Edison test could detect conditions such as cancer and diabetes quickly and without the hassle of needles. The credibility of Theranos was attributed in part to Holmes' personal connections and ability to recruit the support of influential people, including Henry Kissinger, George Shultz, James Mattis, and Betsy DeVos. Recognition. Before the collapse of Theranos, Holmes received widespread acclaim. In 2015, she was appointed a member of the Harvard Medical School Board of Fellows and was named one of Time magazine's Time's 100 Most Influential People. She received the Under 30 Doers Award from Forbes and was ranked number 73 in its 2015 list of the world's most powerful women. She was also named Woman of the Year by Glamour and received an honorary doctorate of humane letters from Pepperdine University, as well as the 2015 Horatio Alger Award of the Horatio Alger Association of Distinguished Americans, making her the youngest recipient of that award in history. She previously had been named Fortune's Business Person of the Year and had been listed in its 40 Under 40 feature. Ramesh Sunny Balwani. Holmes became romantically involved with the technology entrepreneur Ramesh Sunny Balwani after meeting him in 2002 during a trip to Beijing. Holmes was 18 at the time and had only just graduated from high school, whereas Balwani was 19 years older than she was and was married to another woman at the time. Balwani divorced his wife and became romantically involved with Holmes in 2003, about the same time that Holmes dropped out of university. The couple moved into an apartment together in 2005. Balwani did not officially join Theranos until 2009, when he was given the title of Chief Operating Officer. He was, however, advising Holmes behind the scenes from the company's inception. Holmes and Balwani jointly ran the company with a corporate culture of secrecy and fear, according to employees. Their romantic relationship was kept secret for much of their time running the company. Balwani left Theranos in 2016 in the wake of investigations, and the circumstances of his departure are unclear. Holmes has stated that she fired him, but Balwani says that he left of his own accord. When it went wrong. The decline of Theranos began in 2015 when a series of journalistic and regulatory investigations revealed doubts about the company's technology claims and whether Holmes had misled investors and the government. John Carreyrou of the Wall Street Journal initiated a secret months-long investigation of Theranos after he received a tip from a medical expert who thought the Edison blood testing device seemed suspicious. Carreyrou spoke to ex-employee whistleblowers and obtained company documents. In October 2015, despite legal threats and strong-arm tactics, Carreyrou published a bombshell article detailing how the Edison device gave inaccurate results and revealing that the company had been using commercially available machines made by other manufacturers for most of its testing. In 2018, the US Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) charged Theranos and Holmes with deceiving investors by massive fraud through false or exaggerated claims about the accuracy of the company's blood testing technology. Holmes settled those charges by paying a $500,000 fine, returning 18.9 million shares to the company, relinquishing her voting control of Theranos, and was barred from serving as an officer or director of a public company for 10 years. In June 2018, a federal grand jury indicted Holmes and Balwani for distributing blood tests with falsified results to consumers. Carreyrou, meanwhile, continued to expose problems with the company and Holmes' conduct in a series of articles, and in 2018 published a book titled Bad Blood, Secrets and Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup, detailing his investigation at Theranos. At its height in 2015, Theranos had more than 800 employees. It dismissed 340 people in October 2016 and an additional 155 in January 2017. In April 2018, Theranos filed a WARN Act notice with the state of California announcing its plans to permanently lay off 105 employees, leaving it with fewer than 24 people. Most of the remaining employees were laid off in August 2018. Finally, in September 2018, the company announced that it had begun the process of formally dissolving, with its remaining cash and assets to be distributed to creditors.
From the lab industry, who is seeding all sorts of bad stuff about us into the press or false statements about us, and we've had to keep our heads down and focus on what we're doing, in the belief that person by person we will demonstrate the integrity of what we do.
The grand jury, meanwhile, had indicted Holmes and Balwani on 9 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, with the victims being investors and patients. Holmes' trial, the case of US v. Holmes et al., ended in January 2022 when Holmes was convicted on 4 counts of defrauding investors, although acquitted of defrauding patients. On November the 18th, 2022, she was sentenced to 11.25 years, 135 months in federal prison. She still faces restitution and fines for her crimes, and the final hearing on that is yet to take place. On July the 7th, 2022, Balwani was found guilty on all counts and faces up to 20 years in prison and millions of dollars in restitution and fines. Holmes' trial and Balwani's trial were separated because Holmes made allegations of abuse by Balwani against her during her trial. Sentencing for Balwani will take place in December 2022. The trials were conducted in California and became somewhat of a media circus. Holmes herself testified in self-defense for 7 days, claiming, amongst other things, that she was misled by her staff about the technology and that her ex-romantic partner Sonny Balwani, who was also facing trial, held influence over her during the romantic relationship they had and which was still ongoing when the criminal acts happened. The case evidence during the trial outlined Holmes' role in faked demonstrations, falsified validation reports, misleading claims about contracts, and overstated financials at Theranos. Legacy. A number of books and documentaries have been made about Holmes and Theranos, and in particular, in March 2022, Hulu released The Dropout, a mini-series based on the podcast of the same name. The series starred Amanda Seyfried as Holmes, a role for which she received an Emmy Award in 2022. Holmes herself has been credited with creating a negative stigma for other women entrepreneurs, particularly in the science and healthcare industries, who are often compared to her. Writing in the New York Times, technology journalist Erin Griffith commented that Holmes continues to loom large across the startup world because of the audacity of her story, which has permeated popular culture. And women entrepreneurs have reported that the frequent comparisons are pernicious. So Holmes' date for surrender to prison is spring next year. Current speculation has it that she will be in a minimum security prison, Bryan, Texas, where apparently they have both accounting and medical courses available for the inmates. An irony, if ever there was one. I covered the trial as it happened week by week, and if you want to go through that detail, the playlist link is above. And if you were to subscribe to the channel to see more of my content, that would be greatly appreciated. Bye for now.